Welcome back, everybody, to
Dog.
Talk Sports.
Oh,
We
oh.
are back once again, and it is that time of year for NFL fans. It is Christmas time for us. The NFL draft is upon us. By the time this comes out, the NFL draft will be tomorrow, April
Draft
20th.
day.
It is very, very exciting. Me and Pete here holding it down. Jason will hopefully be joining us in the next probably half hour to an hour. But we're gonna go a long time. But he said he has his list, so we'll see if he pops in. We will see if Dan pops in. We already know Ray's probably not gonna pop in, but first things first here on the pod, we have to shout out to the Danimal because
Shout out to Animal and Alicia. Congratulations.
became parents over the weekends. Elliot Grant was born, 7 pounds.
Welcome to the world.
Welcome to the world. It was amazing. I'm an uncle. How freaking great is
Congratulations,
that?
big hunk over there,
Big
right
uncle
there.
over here. I can't wait to spoil that child with all the comic books possible. So just super, super happy. My mom and grandmother hopped on a plane and went down there for the weekend for Easter. And what an Easter gift. Just
Boom.
super, super psyched. So
Listen, I almost had a birthday twin, so
yeah, you almost did.
it was close. We were cutting it close, but next day, you know what? Welcome to the world. Hopefully, by time he's old enough to pick his football team at the age of 6 or 7, when I unfortunately picked my football team, he has the wherewithal to look into the future and pick the team that gives the less heartbreak.
He's either going to be a Jets fan, a Giants fan, or a Cowboys fan. It's not going to be any in between.
Maybe he's gonna be a Texan fan.
He could be a Texan fan. He very well could be a Texan fan. But
Right now, that's the brightest future.
yeah, right now that's definitely the brightest future. So shout out to them. Maybe, we might get a little surprise appearance from Dan here. You never know. Could get this.
Never know.
Never know. But wanted to make sure that congratulations was in order. The second congratulations have to be put out here on the show to the new 17-time world heavyweight WWE
we're
champion
we're doing this right now.
John Cena at WrestleMania 41, beat up on Dusty Rhodes' baby boy, got that dub, got the belt. It was all over social media, all over ESPN, mainstream, took out Travis Scott. It was beautiful. John
All
Cena's back, baby. The all-time
right.
GOAT.
One,
I did this
fuck
just
Travis
for you.
Scott. Fuck Travis Scott. Cody Rhodes should have slapped his fucking head off his body. Two, fuck Dwayne Johnson. He fucking sent this shit into a fucking spiral. Three, congratulations, John Cena. 17 championships is mighty impressive.
Officially the GOAT. Breaks the tie with Ric Flair.
Woo! However, just want to give my boy Cody Rhodes a shout out. 378 days as the champion. The first run was a good one. Comeback is always greater than the setback. We'll see you soon, champ.
Yep, I can't wait for Orton Cena in St. Louis.
Couple weeks.
That's going
Couple
to be
weeks.
epic. That's going to be epic. Anyway, had to throw that in there because me and Pete, not Ray, me and Pete are big wrestling fans. Pete's probably a
Die,
big wrestling fan than me.
die hard day one over here.
Yep. So, but it was very, very cool to see that, especially since it was all over my social medias. So we had to make reference of it here. So,
And you know what? You mentioned his name, conspicuous by his absence. We need the milk cartons out. We need his picture on. We'll have to draw a little fluffy hair or something like that. Ray Tremor, where are you? You've been missing.
MIA, it's
MIA.
MIA Ray. That's what he's been lately.
MIA Ray. All points bulletin right now. Putting on a bolo right now. Be on the lookout for Ray Tremor. Last seen at a golf course today.
Last scene. Last.
Last seen. Not on this podcast.
Mm-mm. Not on this one.
Hate to see that.
Really do.
Hate to see.
So today's episode is all about the draft. We have
The draft spectacular.
everyone has our favorite episode that we do. Sometimes it's the quarterback rankings, sometimes it's the fantasy special, sometimes it's the draft special. I personally love the draft special.
Draft special, baby. It's a new day. It's a
It's
new beginning.
yes, the draft special and the quarterback special are the two biggest episodes in the whole year, and it is time
It's time.
it's time. So without further ado, we're not talking about baseball, not talking about the NBA playoffs, not talking about the NHL playoffs. We are here to talk about just
Football.
football. Football, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what is king. So let's get started. With the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans are up. I have them selecting, excuse me, it's that Dr. Pepper. This episode's brought to you by Dr. Pepper right here. And they're going to select Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. They got the number one pick, and they can't go into next year with Will Levis absolutely just being a meme as a quarterback and just thinking up the joint and having mayo in his cup of coffee. It's a new day in Tennessee, and you get a new day by getting Cam Ward, solidifying your franchise quarterback, and hopefully he's good. I think he's probably going to be the only quarterback that might be any good at all in this draft class. It is a weak quarterback class, so that's really going to impact where the rest of the quarterbacks go here. But the only really good one is Cam Ward, and he's going to go number one.
First overall pick. The Will Levis experiment did not work out. And we knew this because he puts mayo in his coffee. So he can take his Hellman's money and kick rocks because his replacement is being drafted with the first overall pick, Cam Ward. I mean, you said it, best probably prospect out of this quarterback class, a weaker class. Showed promise at Miami. I mean, when you're the Titans first overall and you have no quarterback, you got to go big or go home. So Cam Ward's the pick.
All right. Number two, the Cleveland Browns are now on the clock. I have them taking Travis Hunter, cornerback, wide receiver out of Colorado. Arguably one of the best prospects in this draft. Some people have him as the number one prospect. Some people have them as the number two. But pretty much consensus, this is a big time impact player, possibly a generational type player who's going to play both sides of the ball, a lot of corner, maybe a little bit of wide receiver or vice versa. We don't know. But I think Cleveland picks him and just forgets about it and figure out quarterback situation later when a player like this is available. And especially when you're Cleveland, you have all these holes. You got to go with best player available. And for them, it's probably Travis Hunter.
Twin pick again. I mean, Travis Hunter is a unicorn. He is one of one, as the kids say these days. Dual position, wide receiver, cornerback hybrid. I mean, you can't pass up on a talent like that if you're Cleveland. You're filling two holes at once. I was kind of torn between Abdul Carter, but I feel like with them giving Myles Garrett the big dog extension um, made it less likely to fill Abdul Carter in there, even though Abdul Carter probably is the number one prospect, I would say, coming out of this draft class. Um, but Travis Hunter, man, I too much potential there to be to filling two spots at one. That's two first round picks in one. So yeah, I'm gonna say Travis Hunter also goes to Cleveland.
Yeah, and I think, this is like the general consensus also pretty much from Adam Schefty, who does a phenomenal job of leaking everyone's draft picks like the day before the draft too. So
What
pretty,
a guy!
yeah, pretty confident in these selections. Like remember when he leaked Baker Mayfield to Cleveland back in 2018 when they didn't know like which quarterback they were going to take 2 hours before the draft? This is just ridiculous. Anyway, at number three, the New York Football Giants.
This is your pick right here.
This is my team's pick. After coming off a franchise worst season with 14 losses, the worst in the Giants' 100-year history, and for some reason, my owner thought it was a good idea to retain everyone. But my owner is also completely staying out of the draft process. The report came out today via Todd McShay that John Merritt is staying out of the drafting and is not picking anything. He's allowing the front office to pick the player that they believe will be best for the Giants. Now, everyone thought that it was going to be Shadur Sanders. The problem is Shador Sanders' stock has dripped a little bit. He's very not having good meetings. He comes off as smug. He comes off as arrogant, kind of turning teams off here a little bit. And, for a long time, I thought Shador Sanders was a slam dunk pick for the Giants. I don't believe that anymore. I think Daboll is likes other quarterbacks in this class either just as much or enough that they would be warrant a possible selection later. And when you have a player like Abdul Carter sitting right there, and you have the ability to recreate the Giants pass rush that has won them multiple championships with Eli Manning, you have to do it. The pick is Abdul Carter here, arguably the best player in this draft. Being called a generational pass rusher automatically gives the Giants a top three defensive line in football, whether if they decide to trade Kayvon for multiple picks or not. Either way, you create a defensive line with Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and then Dexter Lawrence. And that just helps out your offense because if you're sacking everybody, it gives your offense plenty of time to work. So I think the pick is easy. It should be Abdul Carter, and I think it will be.
Abdul Carter, like I said, the number one talent in this draft, I would say. Um, yeah, I agree with you. However, I feel like the pick is so easy that the Giants are not going to do that. I think the Giants are going to wind up opting to bolster their offensive line. And in a shocking pick, I think they are going to go with the big offensive tackle out of Missouri. And I think they go with, I'm going to butcher this name, but Armand Membo or
Oh,
whatever.
I see. Yeah, he's further down my list, but I see. I see. Oh, by the
Um,
way, Abdul Carter, Edge, Penn State. I forgot to add that part.
so I'm going to go with a not sexy pick, but in my opinion, the best offensive line prospect in this draft. A monster, 6'4, 332, insane measurables. I That's the pick I'm going with for the Giants.
All right, our first non same pick here. I think you'd be the only human that thinks the Giants are not taking Abdul Carter number three and or Shador Sanders. So going down to number four, New England Patriots. They had a very busy offseason, especially hiring Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel, he is a lineman. He is a what played on the defensive line for the New England Patriots. Returns there as their head coach. There's a couple different directions that I think they go. I do think they address the trenches. You drafted Drake May last year. All the smoke coming out of New England is they love Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. I think he is the best offensive lineman in this draft. I know there's some controversy about his arm length. I think that's bullshit. I think that's just making,
Oh, alligator arms, look out.
yeah. I think that's all nonsense. I think Vrabel picks someone who has experience protecting very good quarterbacks at LSU. So I'm going with Will Campbell to protect Drake May's blind side.
I offensive tackle, high need for them to protect their investment in Drake May. However, in my mock here, I see with the Giants taking offensive tackle, Abdul Carter slides, but no further. Abdul Carter is a monster, and I think Vrabel eats that up, and it's the type of edge presence that they want. No brainer. Abdul Carter goes four overall to the Patriots.
All right, number five. Now the draft gets fun because I think a lot of people kind of know what the first four picks are going to be or have a really good idea. Now we don't really know, right? If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, there's a lot of talk about them taking Genti at number five overall. That to me seems out of left field a little bit because they do have ETN and Bigsby, but I can see that happening and I would not be shocked if that happens. I was very 50-50 with this pick, but there is a new GM in there, and I think he will do the smart thing and the right thing, and that is to get the best player available left on this board. And the Jacksonville Jaguars need to fix their trenches on each side of the ball too. You're going to notice a trend here throughout the draft with my list is the NFL is going to start picking a lot more trenches, whether it be defensive line, offensive line. I think Jacksonville goes defensive line. They take Mason Graham, defense tackle out of Michigan, to anchor the middle part of their defensive line and try to stop the run at minimum because that dude's a monster and they need help on defense like I need air. So I think that's what should happen. I think that's what will happen.
So I wholeheartedly agree with you. First of all, that's Ash and Genty. They're the hype is nuclear at this point. I really could see them just throwing a gamble out, rolling the dice, and saying, you know what, best offensive weapon right here, bring them in. Um, However, just like you said, teams win in the trenches. The Eagles won in the trenches. Um, I could see them going either way, offensive or defensive line. I too go with Graham on this pick, defensive tackle. Just shore up the interior D and work from there. New GM, like you said, do you really want to stick your neck out this fast with a could be a boomer bust pick?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Especially with a draft class that's pretty deep at running back. If you're
very
really looking for that option,
very deep at running back.
you can find a running back later on.
With that being said, we go to the number six pick, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. They've had a very busy offseason as well. They hired Pete Carroll as their new head coach. They got Geno Smith in there and signed him to an extension. The Raiders have no interest in rebuilding right now. The Raiders have every interest in trying to win football games. Pete Carroll's only going to be there a couple years. He's 72 years old. He's not interested in the rebuild. The Raiders take Ashton Genty here, running back out of Boise State, one of the best running back prospects we have seen since Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, CMC. We're talking about these kinds of running backs. This gives the Raiders an identity on offense, pound the rock. They don't really have a running back, and they need one very badly. And they are crazy enough to take Genty sixth overall because they're ready to score some points and they're ready to win some football games. And that's how you do it. That's how you make the splash. That's how you wrap it up. Dash and Genty.
I love it coming from you right now. I love to hear that. I mean, honestly, we are as a Raider fan, um, six overall pick. It will be hard to screw that pick up by what talent will be there and by our needs. I mean, you could go offensive line, you go running back, you go cornerback. I mean, hell, you can even go with Geno's successor. You could take Shador at six. A lot of picks
After
make sense.
they signed him to an extension, that'd be a bad pick. That they you
Eh,
don't
I
do.
mean, if you know the quarterback that you want, look at. I mean, we say that, but look at the Falcons taking Michael Penix Jr. last year.
They
Everyone,
had Kirk Cousins, who was 37 and coming off Achilles.
it's Kirk Cousins. Geno Smith is not that much younger.
Geno Smith is 33. He's not
Oh,
37.
coming off of a major injury.
Yeah, I mean it's completely different.
I'm just saying, if you believe in the player, you pick the player. However, like my name signature says, Ashton Genty, no matter what. Draft day special. What I want John Spytek Jr., Tom Brady, I want Pete Carroll, I want them all to hold a post-it note that says Ashton Genty, no matter what. That's the pick at six. I've seen plenty of different things where Raiders could trade down and maybe still get Genty. Um, but yeah, Genty at six, it's a no-brainer pick in my opinion. Dude's gonna be LaDainian Tomlinson 2.0.
You hope.
Yo,
And when you pick a running back that high, he better. He better be Saquon. Number seven, the New York Jets. They have a new regime change. Aaron Rodgers flew all the way out for them to tell him to go fuck himself to his face. Um,
how crazy is that?
Aaron Glenn's a monster for
You
that.
want
You want
you
to play?
want to play football? Well, yeah, thinking about it.
Well, we want to go in a different direction.
Hold on one second. Let me get the GM in here. Yeah, we're going in a different direction. We don't want you around. But I was going to do some ayahuasca and talk on Pat McAfee. And
Yeah, and not commit to anything because, of course, so happy the Giants took Russell Wilson over that fucker. I'm so happy. Anyway, the Jets are in full-blown rebuild. Well, not full-blown. They still have a couple of young players that are talented. There's still talent on that team.
they're
They,
in trouble.
yeah, listen, it's the Jets. They're always in trouble.
Sorry,
Um,
Dan.
sorry, Dan. Sorry, Nick. But Aaron Glenn, I think, is the real deal, and I'm very curious as to see what this offense is going to look like with Justin Fields as the quarterback. I think they're going to run the ball 8 million times. But I think they get a really nice player here at number seven. I have them taking Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. He is the best tight end prospect in this whole draft class. He's also extremely highly rated. A lot of smoke with him in that building. The Jets have needed a tight end for, oh my God, I mean, years. Years they've needed a tight end. And this guy's George Kittle 2.0. He can block, he can catch, he can do everything for you. He helps in the running game because he can block. I think this is the perfect pick for the Jets here. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this with the seventh pick either. You could go offensive lineman again. You could probably get another edge rusher, but they've had such a hole at tight end for so many years. I think they regret passing on Brock Bowers, and I don't think they will pass on another really good tight end prospect. And I think they finally pulled the trigger.
I mean, you can't argue with that logic right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure I work next to a Jets fan every single day, and we talk about the draft, and all I hear from him is, "I can't believe they passed on Brock Bowers last year." I said, "Brock Bowers, Brock Bowers, Brock Bowers." They went on. They took Olufshanu, massive offensive lineman.
He's okay. He's all right.
He's not bad,
Not a
but
bad player. Not a great player.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah, not Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is a generational talent.
Yes.
Thank you, New York Jets. I appreciate that. Um, and you know what? This year, I I think they pass on Warren. I think they go offensive line once again, and they bookend their offensive line. Um, and in my model, they have they're going Will Campbell, LSU. Justin Fields just protects him even more and bolsters the line. So Brees Hall and um, the other kid that they have, that big motherfucker, can just run wild.
Not bad. Listen, they're in a good spot. They're in a good spot at seven. You could go many different ways.
It's hard to mess it up.
Number eight, Carolina Panthers. I think they're in a position too where they need to help out their defense. Their offense took a big step last year under new head coach Dave Canellis, and it looks like Bryce Young kind of started to develop a little bit, got some confidence, sprang together a couple of good games, but their defense was atrocious, and they take the best defender available here. And I have them taking Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia, to rush the passer. It's the best player available, helps their defense out big time. They haven't had a pass rushing threat since they traded Brian Burns away to the GMN. And I think they finally replace him with Jalen Walker, an absolute dog out of Georgia.
A Georgia dog. Um, yeah, I mean, Carolina, man, whew, I mean, what do you say? Every year they're just
Shitty.
perpetually picking in the top 10 of drafts, and just always in a constant rebuild. I think they focus on defense as well. I think they go on the secondary though. I got them taking cornerback out of Michigan, Will Johnson.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I agree defense though, but I think secondary is where they go.
okay. Do you think that to pair with J.C. Horn, who they just signed?
I
Extension?
you you lock it down on both sides and see what you got from there.
All right. Number nine, the New Orleans Saints. A lot of mystery with this team too. Um, there is a lot of controversy with them right now. Derek Carr apparently wants out. He has a shoulder injury now. They have no idea who's going to be their quarterback. They have no cap space because all their contracts are ridiculous there. The GM there is just in over his head with all these inflated contracts. It's a messy situation down in New Orleans. It's just no one talks about it because it's not New York or it's
It's New
not,
Orleans. No
it's
one gives off.
it's New Orleans. No
Yeah,
one cares what goes on down there. But there is a boiling pot situation going on down there.
bubbling.
And you know how you fix that boiling pot situation? You have a problem at quarterback. You fix that problem at quarterback. Shador Sanders goes here at number 9 to the New Orleans Saints.
Ew.
There's a whole lot of chatter with that there now. I feel like you have to now because you backed yourself into a corner with Derek Carr not wanting to be there and now needs off season. Now he needs surgery, but for some reason didn't get any surgery during the off season, and now we got training. It's just a horrible, really weird situation down there. So I don't know what Derek Carr is thinking or what the fuck is going on behind the scenes.
All right. Yeah. All right. Do not speak ill of the man. We do
I'm
not.
not speaking ill of anybody. I don't know who's at fault. I don't know who started it. It definitely just seems weird. Okay.
So a
Ooh,
little insight. I'm pretty sure that I think Carr wanted to get moved on. Uh-oh. We gotta
here he comes. Here comes the man. Obviously, we know who this is going to be. Hey,
go birds.
go
Go
bird.
birds.
Go birds.
Love it. We love to see it. Welcome, Mr. Gold.
What's up?
So we just talked. Why P hasn't yet. I got to number 9 for my pick.
Number 9, old Zachary picked Shador Sanders checking the watch right now, doing the whole watch selling. So
And hold on. Pete, do you want to give your number 9 pick and then
I'll
let
give my number 9 and then
okay.
we'll
Let
catch
Jason
up.
pick up. Yeah.
Um so yeah, I mean the Carr situation, Carr wanted to get moved. They didn't move him. They messed around with his contract. Um so Carr's looking to get out of there kicking and screaming at this point. So he's sticking to Instagram doing car reviews with his brother.
Oh Jesus.
I I went back and forth on this. I thought Shador too here. However, I I don't think they go quarterback. I have them going wide receiver.
Wow. That would be a
Chris,
reach.
Chris Olave, his brain is scrambled eggs, and it's not working out. I have them going with the big dog out of Arizona. Gonna butcher this name too.
The Torah.
Torah McMillan. Big target. It'll give
Who's gonna throw to him?
whoever. Spencer Rattler can throw to him.
Oh God.
When Carr's shoulder gets better halfway through the season, he could throw to him. I don't know. But I'm going wide receiver on this one.
All right. Let's have Jason catch up here. So, Mr. Gold, we need picks 1 to 9 from you.
Oh, I'm just here for the ride, man. I ain't got no picks ready.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, it's been a busy day.
And with the most unprepared draft we had.
All right, well,
If we're going to talk about unprepared drafts, the Eagles don't even have to prepare because they have the best pick in the draft, which is number 32. And the only way you get the 32nd pick is by winning the whole damn thing.
Or trading for it.
All right, well, let's humor us. Obviously,
Okay.
you probably know who's going in the top 3, right? You don't really need a list for that. Who do you think is going top 3?
We're going to go Cam Ward number 1.
Okay.
I'm hearing noises. Hold on.
Boom.
Yeah. Okay. My wife thought I was talking to myself. No, I'm going Cam Ward number 1.
Okay.
I'm
Consent.
going the Browns are tricky. The Browns are a tricky bunch, but I think I think they're going to go Travis Hunter.
All right, we got our family picks right now for the first two.
Yep.
And just to squash any of the rumors of the Eagles possibly trading AJ Brown for the fourth overall pick, I'm praying that the Giants just take Abdul Carter and don't allow any sort of rumors going around that the Eagles are going to trade up to 4 if Carter is still available. So
Wow.
Giants take Carter.
Wow. So in my mock here, I had the Giants taking an offensive lineman. Abdul Carter goes to 4. So you're hearing rumblings that the Eagles.
There's some ridiculous rumors out there that are saying that the Patriots and Eagles would make a trade for AJ Brown and picks for the Eagles to move up to 4 and take Abdul Carter.
Wow, that would be insane.
I would
I
hate
don't need
every.
it.
I would
I
hate every.
don't I don't need that. I don't need it. I don't need Abdul
He's
Carter.
not. He's not leaving the top three. The Giants are taking him at number.
Two weeks out of the year, Abdul Carter just mashing Russell Wilson into the ground.
No, listen, I would love Abdul Carter, but it's not worth the expense of AJ Brown. So no, thank you.
All right, fair enough. Do you think? Well, because we have a couple teams in the top nine that are relevant that we talk about all the time, like Jacksonville at number five. What do you think Jacksonville's going to do?
I mean, they're not trading their pick. I think their GM is intent on actually fixing this team, unlike that they've done in the past. But they have a lot of needs. They can go almost anywhere. I think that they should get an offensive lineman. That would be smart. But I mean, their defense is also doo caca. So there's not much wrong that they can do there.
Yeah, because I had them taking Mason Graham, the defense tackle in Michigan.
Same.
They listen. They need both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they need everything. So, what do you think Pete's Raiders would do at number six? Me and Pete have the same pick here.
They're going running back.
Ashton Genty, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the no-brainer pick. If I'm a betting man, that's where it's going.
The
Hey,
pick
listen,
is written down, and you sprint it up to the podium. You don't even wait for them to look at the pick. You just say it into the microphone.
Yep.
yeah. Listen, I'm a betting man, and I've been a pretty successful betting man lately. And I think Yashin Genti is going to be a Raider, because I don't think Jacksonville will be stupid. Although there's a lot of smoke that Jacksonville might take them, but they'll do the right thing. What do you think the Jets are going to do at 7?
The Jets. To be fair, I don't even know what the Jets are going to do because they have so many needs, and no matter what they do, it's not going to fix the team. So I don't know. They should trade. They should trade the pick. They should trade down and get extra picks.
Yeah.
That would be my move. If I'm the Jets GM, I'm trading down.
I have the Jets taking Tyler Warren, the tight end at Penn State. I think they regret not taking Brock Bowers last year, and I think they correct that this year because this guy is George Kittle 2.0. He blocks a lot, and they're going to run the ball a lot with Aaron Glenn. And I think just having someone who could both block and pass catch for you would be huge. So. But we can now continue on. We are down to number 10, the Chicago Bears, another team that we just talked about a lot, Nikasi Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson has taken over the reins there, and I think they continue to address the trenches. So this is the theme of this draft, I believe. They take their best remaining offensive tackle on my board here, which is Armand Mbao, offensive tackle, Missouri, freak athlete, 6'4", 331, massive arms, just ready to push people around. Keep Caleb Williams upright. Figure out the running back position in the second round. This class is deep, but get that offensive lineman in there.
Yeah, if Genty was there, I would say that the Bears pull the trigger on Genty, but he's in Las Vegas right now playing craps. Um, on my mock model, top two offensive tackles are gone. I think they go either way, defense or offensive line. I think they go the next best offensive lineman, in my opinion. They're going to go Kelvin Banks out of Texas.
All right. So two offensive linemen for me and Pete here. What do you think Nikasi's Bears are going to do?
The Bears definitely need offensive linemen. So I definitely see them going offensive linemen here because they need to protect the damn quarterback. Give Caleb as much time as possible to be the quarterback that they drafted him to be.
All right. Pretty damn good. Next, pick number 11, the San Francisco 49ers. This is a very interesting team here going into 2025. There's been a mass jettison of talent that has left them here. Traded away Debo to Washington, and a lot of players left on defense and free agency because they have to pay Brock Purdy $50 million apparently. I have them taking the best cornerback on my board. This is the first cornerback to get taken in the draft for me, and that's Jedi Barron, cornerback out of Texas. Big, strong, physical corner. Um, I'm sure Dan would back this pick up from his local team down there.
Hook 'em horns.
They lost Travarius Ward in free agency. They need to replace their secondary. Going with Jedi Barron.
You know, I was toying around here with a potential trade. Um, you know what? There's been a trade.
Oh,
First trade of the draft. I think this is the perfect opportunity for um the Pittsburgh Steelers to get their quarterback of the future.
wow.
I Pittsburgh and San Francisco, they're going to swap future. They're going to swap first. San Francisco, I'll pick up additional picks in this. You don't have to go into what those picks are. I'm going to say, I don't know if it's another first, but definitely another two and a three, perhaps. But I got them swapping out picks, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to move up, and they're going to do the old watch money celebration, and they're going to take Shedeur Sanders.
Wow. Shedeur Sanders. Well, that is the first draft, first trade so far. So I guess we could keep this theme going here since Mr. Gold doesn't have his list. We could do the theme of asking Mr. Gold, who could be our draft analyst here for the rest of
Okay.
the evening,
I like it. I like
and,
it.
and ask, what do you think the 49ers should do in the draft? So we'll give you that role for the rest of the night. Be that arbitrary third person.
Good, because I don't know. I really am so unprepared.
Well, that's why I gave you a role.
Good. The 49ers, I think they're going to go defense here. They need to kind of solidify defense at this point because I don't know what they're doing with offense at this point. Brock Purdy's there. He showed up to whatever training today. George Kittle did not show up to training. Ayuk is an issue with his injuries. Um, get the defense going. So they're going to go defense here. And I like Zach's idea. Secondary, that's a good spot.
All right. Excellent. Number 12, Dallas, the Cowboys, Jerry World. Jerry Jones going on a radio interview today saying we're working on two big trades. Yeah, sure. We'll see it when it actually happens.
So full of shit.
Yeah, he's so lost. He's so lost. The Giants Cowboys, they're just going to be horrible. I'm gonna state it right now. I know Dak Prescott's a very good quarterback, and by himself makes them a good team. Do not be shocked if the Cowboys finish last in the NFC East this year. I would not be shocked. That they made the worst head coaching hire that I have seen, maybe in my adult life watching the NFL here. You pretty much downgraded or kept the same philosophy. We have no idea if this guy could be even a head coach at all. You tried to get Deion Sanders in there, and that blew up in your face. So you just promote the offensive coordinator, who was just Mike McCarthy's play caller anyway. So, like, you didn't really even move on from Mike McCarthy. You just got his understudy. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me what's going on. They also lost.
No head coaching experience.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. They're still a talented team, and I'll give them that, but I could definitely see Dallas running off the rails here this year. But they need another wide receiver. And the first wide receiver to get taken off of my board here is Tatora McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. They need another wide receiver out opposite CeeDee Lamb. Because now he's just been getting double teamed and triple teamed towards the end of last year. And they need someone to take pressure off of him. And I think this is where McMillan ends up going.
All right. Well, I agree that they go offense, but last 2 years ago when the Lions took Jahmyr Gibbs at number 12, it was like, oh shit, what are the Lions doing? This is too high, and now Jahmyr Gibbs is an elite running back in this league. I think the Dallas Cowboys go with a running back, and I am going with Marion Hampton out of North Carolina.
Interesting.
Run the rock.
All right. What do you think the Cowboys got to do?
The Cowboys, you're right, Zach. The Cowboys need another wide receiver here. If you don't get someone else opposite of CeeDee Lamb, this team has no chance of winning. Dak Prescott looks to be in the best shape of his career right now. And if that's the case, you have to capitalize on that, and you cannot waste another season here with CeeDee Lamb being double and triple covered nonstop. And they have just failed to get like a legitimate wide receiver too. So they have to go wide receiver here in order to compete. Otherwise, they already have no chance of keeping up with Philly and Washington right now. They're fighting for their lives to stay above 500. So get a wide receiver.
All right. 13, Miami Dolphins, another team with got some stuff rumbling in the locker room there. Tyreek Hill and trade rumors. Jalen Ramsey will be traded. Front office coming out saying they will work on a trade destination for Jalen Ramsey. I don't know what happened. Something happened, and now they don't want to continue a working relationship. So since they're about to exit a cornerback, I think you need to draft a cornerback. I have them taking Will Johnson here, cornerback from Michigan, the best available cornerback on my board. And that refills the void that you're about to have. Now they're not going to have a number one corner, so you might as well draft your new one.
Solid pick right there. I agree with that philosophy. However, as you mentioned, Tyreek Hill, not happy in Miami. He's locking baby mamas out of the house. He's taking kids away. He is not long for the world in Miami, I believe, and I think Miami drafts his replacement. And what does Tyreek Hill bring to the table? Speed. And I think to fill that void, you go to Texas and you go to the guy that ran a 4.240 and you draft Matthew Golden.
Wow. That is very high for Matthew Golden. He is a 25th ranked prospect on via ESPN. So you think that's a reach? Would you suggest that that's a reach, but they do it anyway?
I think that it fills the need that they have.
Okay. Interesting.
I think if that's the philosophy that Pete has here, they should trade down, accumulate some picks here because they kind of are in good trade territory here in the draft. I think trade back a little bit, get some draft capital, and then you can go and get that guy. But yeah, I don't think Miami stays in this spot. I think they're kind of looking to move around. I think they're going to trade back.
All right. Number 14.
Very possible. Very possible.
Very possible. Yes. I do think there's going to be movement, but I think movement is going to happen towards the first round. 14, the Indianapolis Colts. That team's defense is utterly abysmal. They also don't know what the hell is going to happen on offense. They signed good old-fashioned Danny Jones to compete with Anthony Richardson, and the fact that Danny Jones might take the job from Anthony Richardson is actually crazy. But the Indianapolis Colts' defense allowed the Drew Lock-led offense of the Giants score 55 points on them and ruin the Giants' chances of getting the number one pick. So they have to take the best possible defender left on the board. That is Mikael Williams, edge rusher out of Georgia, big body, rush the passer, because that defense needs all the help in the world.
Yeah, they need help everywhere. I think, in my opinion, they take best available, and on my board, the best available is tight end out of Penn State, Tyler Warren. Um, Big spot to get an offensive player for them. Just help them out. Help Danny Dimes because he's going to be the starting quarterback of that team because Anthony Richardson is not at this point in his life a starting NFL quarterback. So Tyler Warren's my pick for Indy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say tight end, I think, is the move here because if you got Danny Jones and Anthony Richardson competing for the job, um, these are two horrendous options at quarterback. You have to give them something to work with. Um, and tight end is kind of a spot that's been lacking in Indy for a few years now. So that's, I think, the move that they have to make.
All right. Number 15, the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to continue with this tight end train. I have 3 tight ends going in the first round. Again, back to the trenches and back to what teams are seeing what happened with Brock Bowers last year. This is another tight end that has a first round grade, Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. The Kyle Pitts experiment has been an utter disaster failure for the Atlanta Falcons. They have a very good offensive line, and their defense really came alive last season. And it doesn't help to get Michael Penix another weapon. Colston Loveland is mainly a blocker, so it helps out within the run game with Bijan Robinson as well, but he's also a very good pass catcher, very athletic. I think this is the pick here for Atlanta, and that you're going to start to see this shift back to power football. And because of the Go Birds down there, you're going to see that shift.
Bird.
So I think Atlanta, for me, I think they go kind of a hybrid player on defense, a Georgia dog. I think they go with Jalen Walker, who can play the linebacker, can play the edge, um, and kind of mix him around on defense there.
Hmm.
Hi, Kitty.
Oh, what is Hawking? Does Hawking want to make a draft pick?
Talking, you think we can make a good draft pick?
Hee hee.
Huh? No.
Uh,
Atlanta. Listen, they're trying to trade Kirk Cousins to have someone, take over 20 plus $1 million of this guy's contract. They're in complete disarray. Um, Tight end, I think, is a little crazy considering you still have Kyle Pitts, which obviously that's been a horrible experiment. But that being said, you have a different quarterback really taking over this year full time. Maybe see where that goes. I think they got to go defense. So I think they're going to go defense here. I don't know where, but I'll go defense.
the Falcons were kind of a hard pick for me, because I did have them originally going defense. I just didn't really like where my board ended up falling, and I just feel like they kind of take best player available, and the best player available left was Colston. So that's just kind of how it fell for me. There's a couple of teams where I was like, I have no fucking idea what they're gonna do. Uh, with number 16, I have a good idea. Arizona Cardinals here. I have them going, addressing the trenches. I have them going tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, a big old boy, to protect Kyler Murray because for whatever reason, I don't know if Arizona is having second thoughts about the contract because he really wasn't good last year. I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is this amazing wide receiver talent. I don't know why he didn't look that like he was good last year in his rookie year, but he should have been so much better. And I don't know if that's Kyler Murray's fault. I don't know if that's maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't as good as we thought. I think it's pretty safe to say they probably should have took Malik Neighbors instead, but you have to go offensive line here for Kyler. You still have to hope that they could produce and maybe giving him some more time may help things, but I'm still not a Kyler Murray fan. I think he robbed the Arizona Cardinals at point blank range with a weapon of mass destruction. So I just have them addressing the trenches and just taking Calvin Banks.
Yeah, I mean, this to to your comment before was one of those things where I was like, what the fuck are they gonna pick? Who is Arizona gonna pick? Like what's hard to get in the mind of Arizona? I'm gonna say they go defense. I'm gonna go edge. And I'm going out of Texas A&M. I'm going Shamar Stewart.
Okay.
Massive body, just a physical freak. I'm gonna go with edge rusher.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the trenches here. I'm going to go offensive line. Um, Kyler Murray is, a tiny human being. So it can never hurt to get a bunch of big dudes in front of him. I think get a big dude to protect him. Maybe let's see if he can really run the ball around fully healthy. I think that's the best option for them. And they have to give time for Marvin Harrison to get open. I really don't know what fell apart with Marvin Harrison last year. I agree with you, Zach. Was Malik Neighbors the better choice there? Probably.
I mean, just looking at the surface of it, I mean, just looking at the players' numbers, I mean, if they weren't even close. I mean, Neighbors had the way better year, and he had four different quarterbacks throwing him the football. So you can't have the quarterback excuse. You know what I mean?
Neighbors, you know what? He played very well with the short passes. there wasn't a lot of short passes for Marvin Harrison. It was a lot of deep balls, and with someone like Kyler Murray throwing the deep ball all the time, it's not going to connect a lot. So
Well, then that's bad play design.
it, you're not wrong.
So, number 17, Cincinnati. They're going defense. They're going defense, and then they're going defense for the rest of their picks, for the rest of their lives. They have the offense completely solidified with Joe Burrow. You got to make sure he doesn't want out in 3 years or force a trade or anything crazy like that. So you solidify the defense with the best available edge rusher left on my board, James Pierce Jr., edge out of Tennessee.
Okay. This is one of those circumstances where I'm like, you know what? Bengals need a ton of help on defense. They are committing a butt fuck ton of money to their offense in 3 players. I feel like this is a situation where there could be very well a trade where Cincinnati gets more picks on rookie deals where they can build their roster a little bit more. And with that trade, the New Orleans Saints have moved back into the first round. And this is where they collect their quarterback for the future to replace the future used car salesman that is my boy Derek Carr. And this is where Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss is selected at 17.
Wow. Crazy. Interesting. So that's 3 quarterbacks now for you in the first round.
3.
Wow. All right.
All right. Cincinnati, I think what they really need is another wide receiver. So obviously, now they're drafting defense. It's I don't know how many picks they have in this draft. If they have 6, 7 picks, whatever they have, um, every pick is going to be a defensive player. So pick a position and take the best available defensive player at the spot. I don't care who it is.
Zack, who did you take for Cincinnati?
James Pierce Jr.
Good. Take him, take his girlfriend, take his mother.
Oh shit.
James Pierce Jr. All right.
At number 18, we have the Seattle Seahawks. This is another one of those teams where I was like, I don't know what this team's doing. Like, what is this team doing? They traded DK Metcalf away because they didn't want to pay him to the Steelers. They traded Geno Smith away to the Raiders. They
Raiders.
signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million deal. Then they signed Cooper Kupp, who left LA because they didn't want to pay him, but then they paid all that money to Devontae Adams. So now Cooper Kupp ends up in Seattle, and Seattle really likes. I just have no idea what they're going to do. I have no idea. I really think they loved operating a 3 wide receiver set, and I think they like the speed here. So I'm going to go with a wide receiver, Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. He's still on my board here. Um, but I think this is a reach for them because he should go later. Wide receiver is not strong in this class. Like the quarterbacks and wide receivers are not strong in this class. But I just don't know what Seattle is going to do. And I think they really like their offense when they have 3 really good wide receivers that are constantly running open. And I'm just throwing that in there. I mean, they could go defense, they could go offense. I can't get a read on them, but I think they go Matthew Golden here.
I agree that they go wide receiver. However, Matthew Golden is already off my board. He's in Miami. I am going wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State.
That dude is a second round talent. He's like 65 overall or something like that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's 35th overall. So he's a second round talent. And you have him going 18.
18.
All right. Well, we both think the Seattle Seahawks are going to reach for a wide
Wide
receiver.
receiver.
So that's fine.
They're reaching.
No, they're this is a team that's taken wide receiver, but they're also another team that I see as a prime candidate to trade back and get some draft picks because I don't know what they did this offseason. I don't know what they were thinking that they were doing. But they set themselves back, and the only way to get themselves moving forward is with draft picks. So trade back, take a wide receiver, end of the first round if that's where you're trading back to, and figure your shit out.
Number 19, Tampa Bay Bucks. The Buccaneers, they could pretty much go best player available here. They got a really good offense with Baker and bringing back, uh, oh my God, I can't believe his name is escaping me.
Mike Evans.
No, not Mike Evans. The other wide receiver who
Oh,
re-signed.
good one. Godwin. Good one. Godwin.
Godwin. Thank you, Chris Godwin. He re-signed, took less money to stay. I think their offense is just fine. So I think they go with an edge rusher. I think they help out their pass rush here. I have them taking Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama.
All right.
I really hate Tampa Bay. They're just one of the teams I just really don't like. But that being said, the offense is clicking. They did all the right moves there with Mike Evans and bringing Chris Godwin back. So defense is probably the move here. So I'm gonna go with an edge rusher, best available edge rusher to Tampa Bay.
I have Tampa Bay going defense as well, but I'm going secondary, and I have out of Texas cornerback. I still have him on my board, Jade Barron.
All right. Number 20, the Denver Broncos.
Ugh.
Yeah. Sean Payton's squad made the playoffs last year with a rookie Bo Nix. Had a very good offense throwing the ball. They're missing a part of their offense, though. They need a running back. And this is where the other running back that I have going in the first round, I have a Marion Hampton running back out of North Carolina going 20th overall to the Broncos. Sean Payton loves to have a complete offense. He liked having a complete offense with Drew Brees in New Orleans. So I think he finally gets that running back he's been looking for because the Denver Broncos rushing attack has been abysmal the last couple of years, and Bo Nix is obviously the real deal. So you help him out even more by getting a running back. The defense is already pretty stout. So I think they fill a big hole at running back.
I agree that running back is a big need. I think it gets addressed later in the draft because, again, I have two running backs already gone off my board. I don't think they go to the pool to take any of the Ohio State boys in the first round. I have them going offense, and I have them going addressing tight end to help the offense. And on my board, I have Colston Loveland on the board available, and that's what they go with at 20.
Yeah, I think Zach's right. I think running back is probably their best need offensively. Sean Payton really did do a great job, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it. But a running back would definitely help. They need an actual RB1. So go get that. Defense is good for now. I think that's the right move.
All right, 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sean's Steelers, Jay's Steelers, Casey's Steelers. We got Steelers listeners for this show. I have been pretty good at predicting the Steelers draft picks over the years. The Steelers have backed themselves into a corner here. They threw all their time and money and effort into trying to get Aaron Rodgers. They wanted Justin Fields back. They wanted Russell Wilson back. Fields and Russell Wilson said, sorry, we don't want to play for you anymore because we don't like the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. That was apparently one of the main reasons why Russell Wilson left to go to the New York Giants. That was alluded to by Big Ben Roethlisberger on his podcast, which was very interesting to hear. So I think the Steelers now don't have a choice at number 21. They take a quarterback and they take Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. They don't have to do any trades. They don't have to do nothing. They do have to reach for him here, though, at 21 when he should go in the second round. But now they don't have a choice because they decided to play the Aaron Rodgers game and they lost. So you hate to see it, but you just have to do it. And now you got no choice.
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart.
All right. I mean, makes plenty of sense. I had them trading up for Shador. So, I mean, here you have them just sitting and just taking Dart here.
They don't really trade up either. They don't have a history of moving in the draft. So
it's fair. It's fair. That's a good point. But I think they're desperate right now. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, I mean they have absolutely gotten worse as a football team. They don't have. I mean, you cannot go into 2025 with Mason Rudolph as your QB1.
No.
It can't happen.
No, because we all know Myles Garrett has a helmet waiting for him.
Yep.
So in my model here, this is where the 49ers will be picking after Pittsburgh traded up with them to go get Shador. So at 21, the Niners, I have them. I mean, they're going to address the defense in some form or fashion, I would have to imagine. And after they picked up some picks, I think they're going to go edge. And I have them going Mykel Williams, Georgia Dog.
Okay.
Yeah, Jackson Dart is the only possible pick here for the Steelers. There is no other options. They have to go quarterback, and this is the only option in this spot. They're not moving. They're not trading. They're staying right here, taking Jackson Dart. There's no other choices right now.
And it also doesn't help that their front office said today that they like to roster 4 quarterbacks. They only have 2. So we will figure out how to get 2 more by the end of this draft. So thank you for letting everyone know what you're doing.
Facts.
Number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers. This one was actually pretty easy for me. Joey Bosa has been jettisoned. I mean, he was never really a contributor for them anyway, off the edge, and I think they need a contributor off the edge. So they go with the best available edge rusher here on my board, Shamar Stewart, edge out of Texas A&M. He just fits the Jim Harbaugh model, classic style football player, just sacks the quarterback as much as possible, also a physical freak. And you get something, hopefully, that Joey Bosa used to do when he was healthy, but he is now gone. So there is a hole there. And at 22, you can draft pretty much a need right there.
I also agree that they replace Bosa on the edge. However, on mine, you have him already gone, but I am going James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee to the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers, they have to go defense here. They have to get a replacement here for Joey Bosa. That's a big loss, regardless of how many games Joey Bosa plays, per year, like 7 or 8 games a year because of his injuries. Uh, you need to find a good replacement here.
All right. Number 23, Green Bay Packers. What is the one thing that Green Bay has been needing on the defensive side of the ball for years and years and years, it feels like? Can anyone here guess?
Well, they have a safety.
Mm-hmm. They have a secondary. Secondary is pretty good, even though they're about to trade Jair Alexander. But the one thing that they have been missing is a stout defensive tackle. And I think they take Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon here. He is my best available defensive tackle. They haven't been able to stop the run since Aaron Rodgers was there, and they still cannot stop the run. And Jason will be able to attest to that because Saquon Barkley ran 200 yards all over them. So they need to get a defense tackle to try to hold all the really good running backs that are in the NFC in check. So that's what I got them doing.
Bingo. Family pick right there. I also had Harmon. Big, big plug in the middle. Work on the defensive line.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that because they need a defensive line here because they decided that they needed to complain to the NFL commissioner and the rules committee to get the tush push ban because they couldn't stop it because they don't got a good defensive line. So go get a defensive lineman and stop complaining about the rules. Bunch of pansies.
Number 24, the Minnesota Vikings. I have a trade. This is my only trade in the mock draft of mine here. I think Minnesota is the perfect trade candidate for any team looking to pop back into the first round because I think Minnesota pretty much is a complete team. I mean, the defense is strong, the offense is strong. I know they're giving the reins to Mr. McCarthy coming off that knee injury. Aaron Rodgers wants to play there. He pitched to play there. The Vikings said, we're not interested at this time. I just think it would benefit Minnesota to accumulate some more picks and maybe just add some depth pieces to the defensive side of the ball and maybe the offensive side of the ball as well. No wide receiver or anything like that was good enough for them at this spot. They trade with the New York Football Giants,
Wow.
Joe
What a
Shane,
future.
Joe Shane and company trade back into the first. They take Jalen Milroe, quarterback out of Alabama, number 24th overall. Milroe will attend the draft. He believes he will be in the first round. His agent believes he will go in the first round. He's the perfect candidate to get taken here in the mid to late 20s. The Giants are the team to do it. They have 10 picks in this draft. They were awarded extra compensatory picks. They have a couple extra third rounders. They make the trade happen with Minnesota. They get their quarterback who has no pressure to start at first with Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson on the roster. He could sit, he could learn how to play quarterback and not just run the ball.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I hate it because I want Milroe there in the second round for the Raiders to possibly scoop up. Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that happening. In my model, I had the Vikings taking a safety. I have them taking out of South Carolina Nick Amanawari.
I almost had them doing that too. That was almost a family pick.
But Milroe is a solid pick.
Yeah, in 75% of the mock drafts that I've been looking at like the last 2 or 3 days, this is the trade spot for the Giants to trade back in and take Milroe here. So Zach, I kind of have to agree with you. I think this is where the big splash comes in. and the Giants get their quarterback that will lead them to a fourth place finish in the division.
Well, he wouldn't play this year. I think it would legitimately be the third quarterback behind
But
Winston.
fourth place in the division next year.
Uh,
Even better.
Whatever. They still suck. I mean, because there's a lot of smoke about them maybe taking Dart at 34. I'm sure Dable likes the big arm quarterback. I think he looks at Milrow and goes, "Oh, I could have a real dual threat guy here if I could teach him how to play quarterback." And
And
I
if I could stay the coach
And
for the
if I could
foreseeable
stay the
future.
coach, exactly. If I could hopefully win enough games with Russell Wilson to stay the quarterback, to stay the head coach next year. But he's also someone that, if he does get fired, the new head coach that takes over, now you have Milrow who sat for a year behind Russell Wilson. Now maybe you have someone that you could at least experiment with going into next year if you have a new head coach. So I think that's why Milrow is the target, should be the target. I think they're smoke screening Jackson Dart, just like they smoke screened JJ McCarthy last year. So with that being said, we'll move on here to number 25, which is the Houston Texans. This is another team that could kind of go in a couple of different directions. They did make the playoffs last year, but the offense was really, really rough. They should go offensive tackle here. Um, they could go defensive tackle here. They need to work on their trenches. And I just think D'Amico Ryans wants to get to work on that defense again to get offenses off the field. I think the Texans really were good in his first year when their defense was sacking a lot of people. So I have them taking Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall, the best available pass rusher left, so that they can get back to doing a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I think defense has to be the move here. Offensively, their only issue is staying healthy. So as long as their players stay healthy, offensively they're in good shape. Get some backups later on in the draft, but I think right now get a solid defensive piece here, solidify the defense a little bit. They'll be in good shape.
Where are we at? Houston still?
Houston,
Yep.
number 25.
Zach, who'd you take for Houston?
Mike Green, edge out of Marshall.
Okay. It's a solid pick for their defense. Um, I think they look offensive line here. And I have them going with Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
All right. 26, the Rams, Los Angeles Rams. I think they're one of these complete teams too. They took the Eagles, pushed them to their limit in the playoffs, and I think they're still going to be a threat in the NFC again next this upcoming season. I think they just take best player available, and the best player available is actually the safety, Nick Emanwari, safety out of South Carolina. Kind of just bolstered the secondary a little bit more to try to contain the wide receivers that they kind of failed to contain in the playoffs this past season. So that's what I got them doing.
I have Los Angeles going defensive route as well. However, I have them taking edge rusher Mike Green out of Marshall.
Okay. Is your Zoom working there?
Muted, muted, no video, muted.
Oh, there he is. No, he's
You're
muted.
muted. There you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What do you think the
Think
Rams should do?
bad that on. Where are we at? The Rams?
Yeah.
Oh, the Rams. I think you know what? I think they go secondary here. I think best available. If they could find a safety here in this spot, I think that might be a good spot here for the Rams. Um, but you know what? They still weren't good enough to beat the Eagles, so they suck.
Unbelievable. Number 27, Baltimore Ravens. Another team that's pretty much a complete team, just kind of picking to either add depth or add another solid piece. I think they go into the trenches. I think they take the best available defense tackle left, and I have them picking Walter Noland, defense tackle out of Ole Miss. Just another big body to be able to stop the run, or and try to get to the quarterback in the loaded AFC.
I have them focusing on the trenches the other way. Offensive line, I have them going guard out of Alabama, Tyler Booker.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of agree. I think offensive line is might be the way to go. Build up some depth there. Um, just take best available. The team is almost as good as it's gonna get. So get some depth.
All right, 28th, Detroit Lions. Lions lost some pieces in the offseason here. They lost both their top coordinators. They're missing piece, lost a couple pieces on defense. We don't know the status of Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, we don't know if he's going to be ready to start the year. If he does play, I think it's going to be towards the end of the year for a playoff push. I mean, the dude broke his leg. So, I mean, that's always a tough timetable to really determine when he's going to come back. So I think the Lions pick an edge rusher here to fill that hole until he could come back. And another edge rusher that's left on my bullet board here is Donovan Zuraku, edge rusher from Boston College. Was kind of ranked 31st, 32nd overall, but at 28, taking him there, not really a big deal. Kind of helps fill a hole until Hutchinson can hopefully come back healthy.
Yeah, I mean, they this is a tough pick for Detroit. I mean, for me picking for Detroit is don't their offense is pretty much complete, but again, new coordinators on both ends. Um, this is going to be a real test to our boy Dan Campbell. Get them boys gassed up. Um, yeah, I mean, I could see going pretty much anywhere. So maybe it's tough too. I'm gonna say best available, and on my board, my best available is Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia.
The Lions suck.
Okay.
I don't have a pick for them.
I'm sure. Next is 29, the Washington Commanders. They need to work on the secondary. And I have them going with the best cornerback available on my board, which is Maxwell Hairston, quarterback out of Kentucky. They need another piece there again, there's really talented wide receivers in the NFC East. They have to have someone to help on that side of the ball to try to contain A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, C.D. Lamb, Malik Neighbors. I mean, that's a tough task for the Washington secondary. So you need to pick one to try to help.
No, as you say that, I agree with that, but I am gonna go cornerback Trey Amos out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, they desperately need help in the secondary. Um, Otherwise they're gonna put up, have another 55 points put up against them in the NFC Championship game again this year. So they go secondary here.
Okay. Number 30, the Buffalo Bills. Again, I think this is another team that could kind of just go best player available, and I think they help out their secondary here. Their secondary kind of got torched and burned a little bit. I feel like was the weakest part of their defense last year. So they take a corner. Azarai Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State, to kind of help and shore up that positional group and try to help stop some wide receivers.
I mean, can we get Josh Allen a playoff win to go to the Super Bowl? Can we do that?
Nope.
Probably not. But
He's
I have
our
them
he's
going.
our generation's Dan Marino. He'll never win.
I have them going. Going defense as well. However, I have them taking uh, linebacker, and the best available linebacker I have on my board is Jihad Campbell out of Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they have to go defense here. I think the big surprise pick that they could possibly do is if there's any sort of good running back available, because I don't think that they're going to be able to retain James Cook going forward. So a running back would help, but I don't think that there's any running backs in this part of the draft, so they're going to have to go defense.
Okay. 31, the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, this is a team that actually has a decent amount of holes here. But considering what just happened to them in the Super Bowl, I have it on good authority that they will probably take an offensive lineman, and I have them taking an offensive lineman, Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State, to help keep Patrick Mahomes upright because they're just, as long as Patrick Mahomes is alive and breathing, and as long as Andy Reid still wants to coach, we're still going to go to the AFC Championship every year. So he might as well take an offensive tackle to make sure he doesn't get killed.
Patrick Mahomes world, and we are just
Living it.
breathing air in that world. Um, yeah, I mean, I would I would say offensive line or defensive line. I feel like um, so. I'm gonna just say best available lineman on my board is defense, and that's Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. I'm gonna go defensive line.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're going offensive line here. They have to make a massive correction based off of what happened in the Super Bowl. They got absolutely torched by those Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, they're going to go offensive line here. They have a lot of holes, though. This team is not the team that we think they are. I actually don't think they're going to the AFC Championship game this year, but I go offensive line right now.
Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles, the final pick in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. They lost Mekhi Becton to the Chargers, so I think they just try to. They're an offensive lineman factory, so I just think they take the best offensive lineman available and just convert him to a guard. And the best one available left on my board is Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon, and just keep that factory going, keep Jalen Hurts upright, keep big holes opening up for Saquon, and just call it a day.
I mean, it's your Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles, so I think
Beautiful sound.
it's terrible coming out of my mouth, but I feel like what do what do they really need? Um, Nothing. They're champions, so I think this. I mean, Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think here. I'll say, man, the Eagles are such a complete team, but I'm gonna go. They just go on defense and they go bolster the defense. Um, and I'm gonna go with the guy out of Boston College, edge rusher Donovan Zirakuwu.
See, I'll make it nice and easy here. The Eagles don't need anything. The only thing that they need is depth, and that's something that Howie Roseman has done fantastic at in the past. So they trade this pick because we don't need anything right here. Let's get some extra draft picks and just kind of accumulate depth pieces later in the draft. I don't think the Eagles are making a first round pick this year.
I'm very curious before we sign off here. I want your opinion because I've never seen our teams do this before. Our teams having trade discussions with each other about Dallas Goedert. Is there any real legitimacy to that? And do we really see an interdivisional trade of kind of that magnitude? Because I know Philly may not want to pay Goddard. So do you think they take a tight end in this draft?
I don't think the Eagles will pay Dallas Goddard. I think they got plenty of value out of backup tight ends this year while Goddard was hurt. That being said, I do not see Howie Roseman trading a star player like Dallas Goddard is in the division. I don't see that's just not a move that Howie would make unless we got some sort of ridiculous haul in return. It would have to be justifiable because the media would eat him alive
You
for
would
that
have
kind
to
of trade.
pay they would pay the New York Giants tax on that trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would be you'd have to grossly overpay.
Yeah. That's why I think it's very interesting that they even had trade discussions about it. So
I'm assuming Howie's phone is just constantly on that, he probably received 7 or 8 other phone calls for the same, reason. The
well the best
Giants just
way
happened to also be one of those callers.
I think I've said for years the best way to trade with the Eagles is to not trade with the Eagles because you're just going to lose. So, but that's my opinion. But any other final thoughts as we wrap up the drafts 2025 spectacular?
Nope. Go Birds.
What
I
a
mean,
go birds, apparently.
Gilberts. I
Fuck the birds.
Giants trading up to 24 for Jalen Milrow.
Listen, it's happening.
What did the Giants give up for that trade?
They give up their second and they give up their extra third that they have. So they give up 34 overall and they give up their extra third that they got. Or they package both their third round picks and give it to them.
I
Either
think it's going to take, yeah, you're going to have to give at least
You're,
both birds.
I think you're paying a little bit. You're paying more than that.
the 34th overall pick and a third round pick is
Yeah, no, you got to pay more than that.
You're
oh,
paying at least a two next year.
The value on moving up in the draft has grossly
It's
increased.
so inflated.
well, you know
It's
what?
like buying a dozen eggs right
It
now.
doesn't matter.
You're
It doesn't matter what the price is. They're going to do it. Like they're going to trade
So
up.
if the price tag is next year's first, are you doing it?
No, they would never. I don't think you would trade next year's first to go up to 24 from 34.
Yeah, why would you do that? They're going to have the number one overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to get fired, at that point, you stay at 34 and you just hope Milrow falls to you at that point. So,
Milrow is not getting past Cleveland at 33.
yeah. And so, yeah, you'd have to. trade up with like the Bills or something. But, if he's there at say 29, 28, or 30, where the Texans, Ravens, all those teams are, then that makes a little bit more sense to go from 34 to just, 28. Then it only will probably cost that second round
EP.
pick.
Yeah, you're swapping your 34 and then
Yeah. But they will be the team. Joe Shane is traded up in every single draft he's a part of. This is his fourth draft. He's traded up before, and he's also traded back every single draft. So I expect him to
this
trade back
this
up.
is an exciting time for, well, maybe not for
No, it's
Mr.
not.
Golden Air, who's just basking in the Super Bowl hangover right now, but for me, you, the Danimal,
The
uh,
Danimal.
the Danimal. Even I'll throw his name out there, Mr. Raymond, who is MIA and has not been seen. So if you do see him, tell him we are looking for him. We love him and to come home.
Nipples pierced.
Nipples pierced. Maybe he right now is over in Turkey right now getting one of those mean friggin' hair transplants. Just kidding, Ray. I love you. But yeah, no, I mean, this is like the reboot, right? It's the fresh page. We could flip this page on Thursday, and that background that Mr. Gold has means nothing because it's a new day. Yes, it is. And I mean, again, on the post-it note, Tom Brady has it, Pete Carroll has it, John Spytek has it, Ashton Genty, no matter what. It's that easy.
My closing thoughts for the Giants going into this draft is don't fuck this up.
So, yeah, can this not be a repeat of Danny Jones?
Do not take Shador at number 3. If they take Shador at number 3, I'm kicking everyone out of my apartment and you're all going home. It's that simple. Jason,
I got a long way to go home though from there. That's not fair to me.
yeah, you walk home.
Yeah, I might have to FaceTime you so we could do a watch along so I could get your instant reaction on camera at 3.
It'll be Abdul Carter. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine.
When
Joe Shane said, I don't have to take a quarterback.
When they pass on Abdul Carter and they take an offensive tackle.
They're not doing that. They're not doing that.
They're taking a kicker.
Okay.
Only the Raiders take first round kickers.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it worked out. We had the best special teams for like 10 years. We still have the best special teams.
Yeah, that's done them amazing the last few years. So
all right. Be nice.
All right, everybody, we're going to bounce here. Love doing the draft special every year. Thank you, Pete, for popping in. Thank you, Mr. Gold, for popping in, being our analyst here. And it was a different kind of feel, even though, you didn't have the list, but it was a different feel. It was a different.
Came unprepared. He came Super Bowl hungover. And, I
don't need to be prepared.
If the Raiders won the Super Bowl, I would show up to the draft spectacular like that as well. Because at that point, who gives a fuck? You just won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is chasing us. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, until they trade your boy Brown for
I'll jump off Zack's balcony.
For Abdul Carter.
Good. Go jump right off into the mud pit and the landscaping that they're doing below me, where I have dirt all over my balcony because of them.
That's actually
Listen, everybody, enjoy the draft. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm gonna post Zack and mine's predictions. Let's see how many we get right. Let's see who's way off. Zach looked at me a few times like I was a fucking lunatic picking wide receivers that early. But you know what? It's the draft spectacular, and that's what it's all about, baby.
He right. He right. Want me to? I could snap them and send them to you if you want.
I went down. I have all your picks.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. We love this. We love this. All right, everybody. Enjoy. Peace out. Hoorah.